All right, hey, what is up, guys? What's going on? Welcome back to Kitchen Tonic. Welcome back to another brand new tasty recipe here on the channel. Welcome, welcome, welcome. In this video here today, we're going to be making a complete meal, guys. That is a complete meal. And that includes some white rice, which I already have boiling on my stove there. So I'm not going to show you guys too much of that because it should be pretty simple to just boil rice, right? But for the rest of the menu here, we're going to be making some corned beef as well as some macaroni slash macaroni pie. I haven't decided if I'm actually going to be doing the pie part of this recipe here yet. It is basically a macaroni and cheese, and as you know, for the macaroni pie, you just place it in a baking pan and put it in the oven and everything like that. So I haven't decided if I'll be getting to the baking part yet. So yeah, we're gonna begin with our corned beef here, making our corned beef. As you can see on your screen there, I have my frying pan on the screen there. And what we're gonna go ahead and do, I'm gonna go ahead and pour a little bit of olive oil into my pan here. What I also went ahead and did, I chopped up some scallions or green onions as well as some regular onions that's on the bottom there. And I also have some hot dried pepper in my bowl here, which is totally optional. Now what I'm going to go ahead and do here, I'm just going to place this in my frying pan here, and we're going to go ahead and saute this for about a minute to a minute and a half. And the reason I'm choosing to saute everything now is for my onions and everything to release a lot of its flavor and everything like that. Alright guys, after about a minute to a minute and a half of sauteing your onions and your peppers and everything in there, I'm going to go ahead and add my corned beef to this pot here as well. And like as you can tell by the white stuff surrounding the corned beef there, that there is a bit of fat on this corned beef here. And that's why you don't want to add a lot of oil to the pan here. You're just going to go ahead and break this up, of course. I'm going to go ahead and sprinkle a little bit of black pepper onto the corned beef here. We're also going to go ahead and add a little bit of ketchup, about like a teaspoon to a teaspoon and a half of ketchup to the pan here. And we're going to go ahead and give this a nice mix. Alright guys, and that is pretty much it for the corned beef portion of this meal here. And I'm going to go ahead and start preparing my ingredients for my mac and cheese there while my corned beef here fries up and sautés a little bit more in order to become fully cooked and everything. So I'm going to go ahead and take a break from the camera here, and we'll be back when it's time to begin preparing our mac and cheese. Alright guys, so I've finished my corned beef, and this is what it looks like, the finished product. And now we're gonna move on to making our macaroni and cheese here. Also, for your corned beef here, if you want to stretch it, you can add some potatoes to it, you can add some tomatoes, you can add a whole bunch of things to your corned beef in order to spice it up a little. But like I said, what we're gonna do now, we're gonna get into our macaroni and cheese. So I already have my pot on the stove here, which is already heated up, and I'm gonna go ahead and add a little bit of butter into my pan here, and this is about 2 to 2.5 teaspoons of butter that I'm adding into my pan here. Alright guys, after you've sufficiently melted your butter there, I'm gonna go ahead and add my onions into my pan here, or my pot here. And what you're looking at here is 1 small to medium sized onion, as well as 2 sticks of celery, 2 celery sticks. And I'm gonna go ahead and just pour that in there and get that to saute and release a lot of its aroma and all the goodness that we're looking for this dish here today. Alright guys, so here we are. After about 2 minutes of sauteing our onions and celery there, I'm gonna go ahead and add a little bit of evaporated milk into my pot here. Okay guys, 1 can of evaporated or carnation milk, and that is 12 ounces. Alright, and after you've added your milk, I'm just gonna wait for my milk here to heat up until you see some small bubbles starting to form on the edges of the pot there. And then we're going to continue adding the rest of our ingredients and finishing off this recipe. Okay guys, as you can see there, my pot is starting to boil a little bit. So what I'm going to go ahead and do now, we're going to continue adding more ingredients to this pot here. So I'm going to go ahead and add a 1/4 teaspoon of salt. You can choose to add as much as little salt to your taste or your preference. I'm also going to go ahead and add 1 teaspoon of garlic powder to my pot here, and that's going to be followed by about a 1/4 teaspoon of black pepper, and I'm also going to go ahead and add about 1/2 teaspoon of dried thyme in there as well. Let's go ahead and mix this up. Alright guys, following up with my ingredients here, I'm going to go ahead and add a little bit of mustard in my pot here for color as well as a little bit of taste. And what we're going to add up is about 1 to 1.5 teaspoons of mustard. I'm also going to go ahead and add a little bit of mayonnaise to my recipe here, and that's about 1/2 teaspoon to 1 teaspoon of mayonnaise as well. Let's go ahead and mix this up. And we are coming down to the home stretch of this recipe here. And of course, as this is mac and cheese, we're going to go ahead and add our cheese into this pot here as well. So basically we're just going to go ahead and allow all the cheese and everything to melt in here. And then we're going to go ahead and add our macaroni into the pot here. I already went ahead and boiled my macaroni according to its packaged instruction. And what I'm going to be using here is 2 6-ounce carton of shell macaroni that I went ahead and boiled like I just mentioned. So as you can see here, most of my cheese has sufficiently dissolved, and I'm going to go ahead and add my macaroni into this pot here now. We are going to go ahead and add the final ingredients to this recipe here, and that is eggs. Now of course this is totally optional. If you want to leave it out, you don't like eggs in your macaroni, whatever rolls your boat. But for me, as right now, we're going to add 2 large eggs into this pot here to conclude this recipe. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and mix this in. Make sure everything is nice and incorporated. And that is basically it for this recipe here. Alright guys, here we have the final product of my white rice, corned beef and macaroni. I ended up making macaroni pie after all guys. So yeah, this is the final finished product. Quick, simple, yet very tasty meal. Thank you for watching. I'll see you guys another time, another day, with another brand new video on Kitchen Tonic.